All right, let's take a break from all this Cobra Kai stuff. Come on, guys. It's New You time. Come on, everybody. New You Life Center is karate kicking the competition. Hiya! That's right there, judo chopping. Hiya! The competition in half. You want balance? You've come to the right place. Come on, everybody. New You, New You, New You. Come on, everybody. New You, New You, New You. Come on, Gru. You take it in Florida. Go ahead, Gru.
New you, I wanna be into you.
All right, Christina, take it. Come on, Arizona.
New you, we all want a new you.
All right, come on now. Celebrities that lie about their Hispanic background. New you. All right. I'm just playing, everybody. All right, everybody. New You Life Center. We want to congratulate New You Life Center on being named top 15 med spas to watch in 2021 by Phoenix Entrepreneur Magazine. Marie received an email a few days ago. New You did not go out for this. They contacted her. She must have been nominated, and she is so very proud of this honor. And I just lost my stupid notes. You stupid son of a...
This is going great.
New you. Okay, thank you. All right.
Wait, let's rewind it.
We want to focus. Listen to this amazing treatment, guys, that Maria and Dr. Cynthia are offering. Do you know that Dr. Cynthia is known as Dr. Plasma Pen? Just like Gru was known as Great Neck Gruthius in the professional wrestling world, Dr. Cynthia is known as Dr. Plasma Pen because she is getting dotty with it. Come on, everybody, getting dotty with it. You know what? It doesn't sound right with me saying that as a white man. But if I am Evaristo, Moody, Hispanic, I could say that because clearly I have more rhythm.
You're really running with this Hispanic.
I'm really running with this whole thing. Listen, here's what the Plasma Pen does. Electrical discharge. And it makes a little bit of micro trauma to the upper and deeper layers of the skin that energizes your plasma and resulting in improved collagen production and a renewed appearance to the skin. Come on, guys. It's New Year's Eve. It's 2021. You will not believe the results. Say goodbye to 2020 and to those little wrinkles and fine lines. Call the schedule at New You Life Center. Consultation at Dr. Cynthia Hinojosa at Dr. Plasma Pen and get your dotty on 602-274-0068. Christina, did you say you've been to New You?
Yes, I love New You. Marie and Dr. Cynthia are fantastic. They were giving me balance, and I keep going to them. And I had one of those procedures done where you get rolled by Marie. Ooh. And you get rolled to get rid of your rolls. So if you get a chance and you're in the Phoenix metropolitan area, give New You a phone call and a shout out.
Thank you, Christina.
Is it true that they're changing the name this year to the New You Karate Dojo?
Yes, that's going to be season 4 of Cobra Kai. It's the latest.
I mean,
latest
it did get that tease, Christina, for New You in that last episode there.
Thank you, Andrew.
Jesus Christ.
All momentum comes to a crashing halt. Tell Marie and Dr. Cynthia that Nothing Worthwhile, Moody and Gru, Miss Christina Vee sent you and get 15% off your first service. That's 15% off. Look, they're doing all the COVID PPE. I mean, it's like going into a prison. You got to literally strip your clothes, get fumigated. It's sterile. It's clean. It's a friendly environment. What's that?
That's hot.
Well, it's sterile, clean, and friendly, and I won't make any comparisons with Christina on the line today. But let's just say it's sterile, clean, and friendly. Gru and I have had many nights outings with sterile, clean, and friendly. Not with us, of course. Not with us, of course.
And that at the end of the next day, we had to get a shot.
Yes, although he did watch New Year's Eve with Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen. So anyway, blah, 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 blah. All right, well, listen, thank you, New You. And as we stated earlier, Cobra Kai premiered on YouTube Red in June of 2018. The main players for the Cobra Kai television series: Ralph Macchio returns as Daniel LaRusso, William Zabka as Johnny Lawrence, Courtney Hengler as Amanda LaRusso, oh Lord, Zolo Maladuena as Miguel Diaz, Tanner Buchanan as Robbie Keane, Mary Mouser as Samantha LaRusso, Jacob Bertrand as Eli Hawk Moskowitz, and Gianni DiCenzo as Dimitri. So, you guys ready to tackle season 1?
Hell yeah.
Yes.
All right. Let's get away. Are you guys ready? 69. Oh, that's my Ronnie the limo driver from Howard Stern. All right. All right, Gru. Let's cue it up. It's time for a Nothing Worthwhile episode breakdown. It's episode 1, Ace Degenerate.
Nothing worthwhile. Episode breakdown.
Okay, 34 years later, Johnny is really struggling. 34 years later, Daniel is winning. Johnny eats dinner at a gas station and saves his teenage neighbor. Stepfather Sid, played by an aging Ed Asner, ponies up the cash. Johnny really likes Coors. Johnny takes a drunken road trip to the All Valley Sports Arena. We got a hit and run. LaRusso Auto Group repairs Johnny's car. Johnny and Daniel meet again. Johnny reluctantly accepts a free car repair from Daniel. Johnny realizes that Daniel's daughter Sam was one of the hit and runnees. Johnny decides to bring the band back together again as Cobra Kai opens with one student. Roundtablers, your thoughts on episode 1, Ace Degenerate.
Christina?
Ace Degenerate.
You gotta here. Wait.
Ace Degenerate.
Why don't you throw it to one of us to
all right, well, we'll do that for episode 2. So, I'll throw it to. Okay, so go ahead. Could somebody break the ice and give us any thoughts on episode 1?
Okay,
they're introducing the Karate Kid universe again. Let's go. How did they do?
Yes, right away. It begins with the flashback to the final match of the tournament in the first Karate Kid between Daniel and Johnny. And immediately I thought this is going to be exactly what I thought it was going to be, a little cartoon. They're playing this whole thing, and then they go into, just that way that it started. And then that lasted maybe 30 seconds. And then once that was done and they kind of juxtaposed, or I don't even know, they faded from Johnny on the mat after getting kicked in the head to Johnny hungover in bed 30 years later, that told me that, okay, this is going to be not what I thought it was going to be. It's going to be on a whole different level. And the episode unfolds. It's sort of Johnny. It's sort of led by Johnny, showing us who he is, literally by not even expositionally. It's showing us who he is and showing us where he is and what he's gone through. We can almost create our own little, our own ideas of what he's been through over the past 30 years that might have stemmed from that not just the loss in the tournament, but the thing with Kreese after the tournament that showed up in Karate Kid 2 at the beginning there, and just beat by beat and step by step. We have this character who we hated. You hated him more than I did, but we hated him in the movie. We were petrified of him in the movie. Christina obviously wasn't, because she was in love with him then. Loved with him then.
Hey now.
But all of a sudden, within a minute into this first episode, we're with him. We're on his side. We root for him, and that told me everything that I needed to know about what this series was going to be. Bringing in that great Ed Asner, he's aging, but he did a great job with that character.
Oh, he's such a surly bastard in the show.
Yes, and he's supposed to be, and we're getting glimpses into Johnny's past and childhood, everything that we didn't know about who he was. And we see, he has he's living in the past. They already set up how stuck in the past he is with the music, with the Firebird, the car, and his he's got Ray-Bans, or just he's stuck in the prime of his life. And when I figured out that was going to be what this series was about, this series is going to be about two people going through a midlife crisis, and I was right on board with that. And everything that I thought it was going to be, that I was afraid it was going to be, disappeared within seconds. And the ride began. Ace Degenerate's a great opener to this whole expanded universe now. So,
Gru, let me toss it to our partner in crime,
Please.
Miss Christina Vee. Christina, your thoughts on episode 1, Ace Degenerate?
So I was just very excited seeing it in the movie theater. I mean, it was great, on screen, and I just ate it up. I enjoyed every minute of it. I went in with no expectations. I just told myself, just go and enjoy and see what they're going to give us. And I wanted more. And, like you said, Ed Asner was fantastic as Johnny's stepfather. I mean, he was a SOB, and he played it very well. And so you can see why, Johnny kind of has daddy issues. Why he clutched on to Sensei Chris. That was his father figure, because he really didn't have a good one at home. I'm going to tell you, Billy Zabka is a phenomenal actor. He was up for an Academy Award for directing, I believe. And with great directors, they're also great actors, but I just, the way he makes you feel when you're watching this, you're like, yeah, I felt bad for him, and you're rooting for this guy. You want him to do well, and for me, you guys, didn't like Johnny, in the Karate Kid. I liked him. I was like, why is Daniel starting stuff all the time?
Oh, stop it, Christina. You didn't really watch Karate Kid and think Daniel LaRusso was,
yes, I
was
did.
the bad guy. Oh, stop it.
Yes, I did. I was like, this guy's a wimp. Stop crying. Poor Miyagi has to hear him crying and whining all the time.
What's next? What's next? You're going to complain? What's next? You're going to say Hilaria Baldwin is a white girl from Boston? How dare you? I can't. How dare you?
No, but seriously, I've always loved Johnny. And my
Christina, listen. You've got your one episode clearance. Now I'm going to start digging in. There's no one who watched Karate Kid and thought. We've debated this.
What's going on?
I was 12 years old. I hated Johnny until the very end when he handed Daniel the trophy, and I said, "That's a nice moment." So you're the one person who thought thought Johnny was a good, solid guy.
Yeah, I was like, here he is. He wants talk to his girlfriend, and then Daniel likes her too. Whatever, let him talk. He threw the first punch. And they have all these videos. I love it that they have all these videos thinking, saying all the things that I was thinking back in the day. But I got to tell you, I didn't hate Daniel, but it was just like, Daniel, stop whining. Poor Miyagi, Or Daniel, why did you instigate, that whole scene at the Halloween dance? Johnny's in there. Johnny should not be doing drugs, okay? Just saying. In the bathroom stall. He should have just left well enough alone. Everything would have been fine.
Though currently legal in California, I do want to add.
Yeah, but not on the school campus because they're drug-free.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Well, I think for me, both your points. Watching it, I definitely agree with Gru. When they open to Johnny 30 years later, and he's kind of he is a sad sack. I was like, this is going to be really good. This is going to be different. I think the other thing I liked is, the language. It's a little coarse. It's not always politically correct, and I like that in today's age. I rolled up my sleeves and I said, "This is going to be good stuff." But yes, I echo really, Gru. It's Johnny's story, at least initially, how they're going to tell it. And yes, you watch it and you say to yourself, at the age of 50, I say to myself, well, maybe when I watched it 40 years ago, maybe it wasn't quite the way I perceived it. So it definitely made you think. So all right, let's move on.
I just want to make just very quickly. I just want to make 3 quick points. Okay, immediately when getting to Daniel's part of this first episode, what they did, which I thought was brilliant. They didn't make the same mistake that that the sequels made. The sequels made Daniel into like this goody two shoes kind of guy. He was, always fighting off the baddies, and he was so nice and so sweet. He was kind of a dick in Ace Degenerate, and that showed me that this was going to be fearless. That they weren't afraid to show the human frailties of these legendary characters. And my final point about it, you've got you've got Daniel and you've got Johnny, but then you've got the kid, you've got Miguel, you've got Jolo Mariduena, who you instantly fall in love with. Like you see that this is a great kid who is going to struggle, and you automatically are 1,000% with this kid from the second you meet him. And that's a testament to the actor. He does such an incredible job. And I'm saying this after seeing 3 seasons of it, but I definitely remember, being on his side right away. And that's what a premiere needs to do. It needs to establish your 3 main characters and make sure that you get each of them through and through. And that's Ace Degenerate.
And even the supporting cast was fantastic.
By the way, all of that coming from a guy who watched Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen on New Year's Eve.
Yes, not ashamed. I only watched like 5 minutes of it.
I'm only playing with you. Go ahead, Christina.
Yeah, the supporting cast is fantastic. Like the character the Hawk. You see when you first see him, his scar is like you cannot help but notice it. But you see throughout the series it getting lighter and lighter, and you don't really notice it anymore, once he becomes the Hawk. And, as the series is going, he's struggling inside with himself, like the good and the bad. And you see the scar changing. I don't know if you guys have caught up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But they all are. That's the thing. Each of these characters, no matter how minor, the writers have given them each so much depth. There's not one character, even the frickin' landlord, who we meet in Ace Degenerate. I think, yeah. He's that guy from Borat. Remember Borat's sidekick?
Can we wait till we get to that episode?
He was in this. He was in the. I think he was in a. I think he was.
No,
he
wasn't in. He wasn't.
He wasn't. Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
No.
All right. So let's. Well, but Ace Degenerate, home run of a grand slam of a premiere. Yes.
I'm already out of it now.
Only 9 more to
go. Let's get to it. It's time for a Nothing Worthwhile episode breakdown. It's episode 2. Strike First.
Episode breakdown.
Miguel begins his karate training with Johnny. The new teacher bullies the asthmatic student. The dojo needs a lot of work before it can officially open. Sam throws a heck of a pool party, and Daniel is not too happy about it. Sam really likes Kyler. Miguel really likes Eli and Dimitri. Robbie is really not a good student. Kyler is bruised up, and Daniel notices. Kyler lies, and Daniel finally confronts Johnny. Christina Vee, let's go to you first. Your thoughts on episode 2, Strike First.
Well, it's very interesting, and I don't know, not too many people bring up this character. I'd like to see more of him maybe in the next season, but Daniel's son. It seems like no one really cares about Daniel's son.
He's sort of comedic, Anthony. Just like a comedic
my
element.
God. I'm so glad you mentioned that. But keep going. I'll get to that when I talk about it. But go ahead.
Oh, here we go.
So it's just funny how Daniel has embraced the Japanese culture. He has this kid coming in to have dinner with his family, and he's having this Japanese meal, and the kid's like, do you have something else? It's just kind of funny seeing that he's going back to his old ways with Miyagi, and the kids are just like, can we do something else? He's thinking that he's cool, but the kids are like, you're not really cool, Dad. And I think a lot of parents, my friends, struggle with that. I even struggle with that myself with my students. I think I'm doing something cool, and they're like, yeah, no. And it's really cool, like, seeing that element in there. There's great balance. Miyagi would be very happy with this second episode. You see, like, there's equal balance of showing the kids, and their personalities and their character development. The same with Johnny and Daniel-san.
Well, that
Gru,
yeah.
Thoughts on episode? Go ahead, Gru.
Yeah.
There's just no flow. Go ahead. Just
well, that's the
fuck
whole.
it. I'll do it live. I'll write the shit and do. Go ahead, Gru. Episode 2.
What episode are we on?
2.
All right, Attack of the Clones. So I wasn't very happy with. All right, my whole point with this whole thing is that these guys, or this show, is able to do what a franchise like Star Wars and even Terminator, things like that, these tentpoles have failed to do. Meaning, and I spoke about it with Evan briefly last time, I think, how they use the old characters to support the new, and they're basically window dressing. The movie can exist without them. The last 3 Star Wars movies can exist without the original people. The Terminator, yes, can exist without Sarah Connor and the way they're telling the story. But the problem with that is, if you have these people there and you're just using them as window dressing, you're never going to fully invest yourself in the new people, because you want more from the old people. That's why you've tuned in, and that's the mistake that so many of these movies and shows make. This one didn't. This one has that, I hate to use a pun, but the perfect balance between the old and the new.
Balance.
Thank you. Thank you. But that's what they do here, by going back and forth and making these old characters. It's about them and their extended families. That's why it works. And you brought up Anthony, the kid, his son. He's in it very briefly, but in this episode, he and Daniel have this dynamic that's so funny. It's so antagonistic. It's obvious that, like, Anthony is this little fat schlub who just plays video games and eats waffles all day, and Daniel's just like giving up on him, and he's like, "Come on, dude! Like, how many? Why do you need 7 scoops of Baskin Robbins?" And he's just giving up. So he's focused on Sam. So because there are these kind of relationships, we are completely invested, and we get to meet Daniel's wife, who is hilarious in her own way. The way she just stands around looking at these people like, I can't believe I'm surrounded by such idiots. But it's so much more than that. So where this episode goes, this shows us the lifestyle that Daniel has, the country club lifestyle. And we see that he's not, again, more evidence that he's kind of like a nose in the air, kind of a douche. And that's what's great about it. That's what levels the playing field now. So we're not rooting 100% for Johnny and 100% for Daniel. We're going back and forth, and and I remember that when they first premiered on YouTube Red, after the first episode, going right into the second, there was a little message from Ralph Macchio saying, "All right, you've seen Johnny's side of the story. Now I'm going to show you Daniel's side of the story," and that was cool too. So this whole thing just is taking off. Like,
do you want to comment now on extended cuts and deleted scenes?
No, why?
You got to comment on the Ralph Macchio message before episode 3.
Well, it just amplifies the point that of where they were going.
Let me comment here. I could put it a lot more succinctly than Gru, who goes on a 7-minute bloated diatribe. What I will agree with Andy is they do an amazing job of introducing the secondary characters, the younger characters. And as a Karate Kid original fan, I bought into all the Sam, Mahawk, Demi, loved them all right away. They were able to, the way they're able to put those characters in there, you know, as the article talked about, those extended characters, the younger characters that are influenced by those, they do a great job. They do a great job. It didn't feel like a shoehorn. Felt natural and organic to the Karate Kid universe. I thought they did a really nice job here on episode 2.
Even Yaya, the grandma, she's hilarious.
Yeah,
remember her?
She's
great. Yeah. She's great. Like,
and she plays a little bit more of a key role somewhere down the line. All right, guys, let's move on. It's time for a Nothing Worthwhile episode breakdown. It's episode 3, Escuelo.
Nothing Worthwhile episode breakdown.
Okay, Johnny recruits more students. We have a politically correct Halloween dance. Daniel decides to chaperone Sam after he snoops on her laptop. Miguel Karate's training is stepped up as he strikes first, strike hard, no mercy. Miguel learns to swim because drowning is for pussies. We got a throwback as Johnny gives Miguel that costume. Daniel and Johnny meet again in the high school hallway. Daniel embarrasses Sam during the dance by finding her and Kyler alone in a suggestive embrace. Aisha is a piggy at the buffet table. Miguel overhears Kyler and his friends objectifying Sam. Miguel attacks Kyler, but is overpowered and beaten by the bullies in the bathroom, and Johnny finds Miguel in rough shape in the bathroom. Gru? Your thoughts on episode 3, Escuelo?
Is this the one that opens with Miguel exercising as he wakes up in the morning? I don't think so. I think that's a little later. But this episode is great.
Well, wait. Hold on one second. You're the expert. Don't go on the podcast and go, oh, wait a second. Is this the episode?
I'm just asking a question.
Just fake it. Or just get your comments.
Okay. This episode really starts bringing in all these other characters and putting everything together at this Halloween dance, and like Johnny is promoting his studio or his dojo, and he's putting up the flyers, and
yes,
the show smartly doesn't have Johnny and Daniel really going at it. It's just like they're thorns in each other's side. And, like Johnny showing up at the high school and putting up the thing, and Daniel being the chaperone and his conflicts with his own daughter, and Kyler being a complete douche, and that everybody else in the world can see except for Sam. And Miguel sort of really stepping up his training. It's just building and building and building, and it's taking its time, yet still seems to move at a lightning speed, because it's so enjoyable. There's never a dull moment. And I just love the way this episode sort of takes it to, you could see that the twists and turns are coming. It's like going up a roller coaster, and you know that you're going down in a few moments. You just don't know which way it's going to corkscrew and all that kind of stuff. That's what this episode feels like to me. And that's the thing. Like, each of these episodes has a completely different feel to it, yet they flow so well together. And this one does exactly what it's supposed to do. It goes from point A to point B. Great episode.
Christina, I wanted to ask, or anyone, what does Escuelo mean? I don't even know. What does Escuelo mean?
Consuelo is Connie.
No, the title of the episode, Escuelo. That's the name of the...
Escuelo is the title. Yeah, ESQU.
Oh, I think it's Consuelo. Sorry.
No, I don't know. I really thought as Gru was talking, I realized I don't even know what that means. But
I don't either.
Christina, why don't we give it to Christina Vee? Thoughts on episode 3, Escuelo?
Well, I liked it because you can kind of see like Johnny becoming the Miyagi, in this teacher relationship. But what I like is you see Johnny getting softer. Okay, he's not so harsh. In the beginning, when we meet him, he's like just angry, harsh. But you can see Miguel softening him, making him more humane. You can see him like starting to like the kid. He's still trying to be tough and strong, But you can see him really liking this kid. I mean, who doesn't like Miguel? This is a sweet kid. You know,
Can I interject a point on your comment, Christina?
Yes.
So I think that still the majority of the episode, Johnny is still very Kreese-like. I mean, I caught the line, he throws him in the pool, drownings for pussies. Johnny has the very classic line in the hallway, don't forget about Cobra-Kai, www.cobra-kai.com. I mean, I thought that was a classic line. Yeah. Now, at the end, when he sees Miguel got his ass whooped in the bathroom, you feel like there's a softening and he feels really empathy for Miguel. But I thought, still, for the majority of the episode, he's, don't be a pussy, strike first, strike hard. He's very rough. But at the end, you do see a little softening to him.
But you see, Johnny has daddy issues. Like, he didn't have anyone, mentor him lovingly. So when he was with Kreese, he saw Kreese kind of like his father figure. And that's what Kreese would say to him. So he was trying to help the kid by, hey, don't be a pussy, man. Come on, So that was his way of trying to help. That's the only way he knew. And, it's kind of like, Miyagi was really sweet on Daniel. Like, he was really sweet, But sometimes Miyagi needed to be like, come on, Daniel, stop being a pussy. Come on, because sometimes Daniel was a little whiny. And so, when Johnny sees that in Miguel, he's like, come on, snap out of it, enough of this. He sees that this generation of kids as very weak, and he's trying to give them strength.
Yes.
So I think that's the only way that he knows, like, dude, come on, stop being a pussy, come on,
That's clear.
For him.
That's a good point, because clearly Johnny's narrative is today's generation are a bunch of pussies. But Gru, let me throw it to you. When was the only time we ever saw Miyagi really dig into Daniel?
The only time I remember seeing Miyagi get angry with Daniel was in the third movie.
Of course, give us the scene.
The scene. Well, there's one where it's the one towards the end of the fight where Daniel's saying, I'm afraid," and he literally screams at him for the first time.
Right.
And he's like, I love that part. I really do. But I also wanted to say that I want to ask both of you: are you starting to see in this episode that maybe what's softening Johnny a little bit is that Miguel is sort of mentoring him in a way? There's like a silver spoonish thing going on here, like Miguel is showing him how to do these things. Miguel is like giving him this attention and care that nobody else has given him. Like, do you see that?
Yeah, I'll take that first. I do think you bring up a good point. I think both of them, Miguel and Johnny, struggle. Because I think Johnny knows that his teaching style is really not appropriate and not really the right thing to do, but it's what he knows. And Christina talked about daddy issues. Perhaps that's true. I mean, the show does reference it. And Johnny knows, because there is a specific point in the series where he knows his methods have corrupted a bunch of nice, soft, nerd kids. And I think Miguel, who was that nice, soft, nerd type kid, is starting to get harder, but he knows, like Karate Kid 3, it's really contrary to his true nature. So I think both of those guys, there is a sort of a symbiotic relationship, mentoring on both ways, but I think both guys are struggling to find the right balance, so to speak. Christina, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. And, I love seeing Miguel teaching Johnny the new ways, we're going to see, with the Facebook and everything else, I just think it's wonderful seeing him on the computer. I got my parents' iPads, and I went through the same thing with them, trying to teach them how to use an iPad. So I can relate to Miguel. It's kind of frustrating, but it's neat to see them light up when they get the hang of it. So.
Yeah, okay. and they're really it's giving, again, it's doing that thing where it's giving us, we're as much in Miguel's corner as we are in Johnny's. And for them to have been able to accomplish this task by merely episode 3, to me, was miraculous. Because we didn't decide to watch the show for the new generation. We decided to watch the show for, Johnny and Daniel, and yet here we are rooting against all of this plethora of new characters. So it's and by this episode, I think we've met just about everybody, and we're all in for all of them.
Do you work for a PR agency covering Cobra Kai?
I fucking should, because I promote this shit all over the place. I really should.
I mean, it's a good thing you don't overstate. We have words like miraculous assigned to a TV series. You know what was miraculous? Moses parting the Red Sea. That was miraculous.
And New You Life Center.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. It's time for yet again another Nothing Worthwhile episode breakdown. Let's break down episode 4, Cobra Kai Never Dies.
Nothing worthwhile. Episode breakdown.
Okay, Robbie pilfers from GameStop or whatever computer store he works for. Robbie learns of that new dojo because that's his fucking dad. Johnny gets drunk because Miguel got the shit kicked out of him. Johnny takes up graffiti and vandalizes a LaRusso Auto billboard because Daniel sucks a mean D. Miguel calls Johnny a great man. Aisha continues to be bullied. Somebody ordered 100 sausages for lunch. Johnny confronts Robbie, who wishes he had a loser strip mall karate school. Sam sees Kyler bullying Dimitri and Eli, and Dimitri's book bag gets double dipped. Tom Cole's boba gets knocked out, courtesy of Daniel LaRusso. At the movie theater, Kyler gets these hands, courtesy of Sam LaRusso. Johnny pleads for Carmen to let Miguel continue his karate training, vowing not to fail him again. Miguel returns, and Johnny tells him that a good defense is more offense, and Daniel discovers that it was indeed Johnny who vandalized the LaRusso billboard. Let's go to Christina Vee first. Christina, your thoughts on episode 4, Cobra Kai Never Dies.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I never root for people vandalizing, but when Johnny vandalized Daniel's billboards, I couldn't stop laughing.
Don't. What are you going to say? Somehow you found the. Okay, go ahead.
I don't agree with that, but I loved it. I was like cracking up. It just made me laugh. Okay, I know it's very childish to do, but it was funny. I couldn't stop laughing. But I just with Sam, I can't believe she can't see how horrible these people are she surrounds herself with. Especially when they're bullying her friend, she can see them bullying her friend, and then she still stands with them. So, in the beginning, I will admit, I really wasn't that much of a Sam fan. So, but she's changed, and so I'm growing to like the kid. But in the beginning, I was just like, ugh, she's not.
I actually really felt bad for Dimitri because I've seen that a million times. We were all educators. Christina and I are school administrators. Mm-hmm. Kids' book bags getting thrown in the garbage. And I mean, I'm sure it's happened to me too when I was a kid. So I felt so bad for him on that scene. We know with the yogurt and to crap all over his book bag.
Mm-hmm.
Gru, thoughts on episode 4, Cobra Kai Never Dies?
Well, this is another 10 out of 10, and I'm going to give you only one reason. I'm not going to give a long-winded thing. They give the funniest line and, to me, the most creative line of the episode to a character that really doesn't figure into much. When Louis and Anush are cleaning up the billboard, and they're talking about the dog shit that's up there.
The dog shit, yeah.
And then the camera pulls away from them, and right before they cut away, you hear Anush said, "How did the dog get up here?" And you realize it was Johnny who took a shit on a billboard. I was laughing for an hour, and I think I rewound or went back and watched that one line over and over again because it just kept making me laugh. And I'm like, and to me, that alone makes this episode perfect. But yeah, I mean, you've all covered everything. But that was
my favorite scene from this episode, guys, is when Daniel round kicks Tom Cole's boba out of his hand. I thought that was just a great scene. And while I do want to move on to episode 5, let me just ask, I'm looking at my notes about what purpose does Tom Cole, I mean, they kind of, I know he's like a business competitor, but they touch upon him. Is it just a little filler for the episode?
I don't see it that way. I think they're introducing the thorns in each of these characters' lives. He's to Daniel. Tom Cole is the same thing as like the I don't know, like the guy he's trying to sell. The guy he tries to sell all his used crap to, the pawn shop guy. He keeps going to that pawn shop guy to try to sell this worthless junk. Would you see Tom Cole as, let's say, Daniel versus Johnny just in the business world? Is that his main competitor, his rival in the business realm? Yes, but luckily they don't dwell on it. They use it very sparingly. So I think that's the smart way to do it. And the guy who plays Cole is so perfectly douchey, smarmy, and I like that. I like the whole boba thing. Every time he has to say it like over and over again. Have a boba. Bobas are great. Here, take a boba. Like he's clearly trying to rip everything off. Like Daniel gives out bonsai trees, he gives out boba teas, whatever the hell they are. Yeah, it just reinforces that going to a car dealership is generally speaking a very unpleasant experience. So get a boba and get a bonsai tree. All right, guys, let's move on. It's time again for a Nothing Worthwhile episode breakdown. Let's go to episode 5, Counterbalance.
Nothing worthwhile episode breakdown.
Miguel is actually getting it. Namaste, bitches. The fat guy from Borat makes an appearance as Daniel tries to manipulate the rents. Close cobra-kai by manipulating the rents. Oh, sorry about that. Robbie's mom complains that her date was all talk and no stick. Aisha joins cobra-kai. There's no honor in today's bullying, according to Johnny. We have marijuana. Kyler's been spreading nasty rumors about Sam. Aisha might not be good at karate, but she can sure fight. You, be quiet. Johnny makes a trip to the pawn shop. Daniel and Johnny meet again in a gas station. Kyler embarrasses Sam. Miguel stands up for her and goes viral, and he gets a Cobra Kai gi. Oh, Lord. Hold on. I apologize. Knew you.
We got to pay our bills,
Robbie decides to reconcile with his dad, but it's Miguel's time now. Daniel visits the grave of Mr. Miyagi to reflect and ask for wisdom. Cobra Kai is in business. The LaRusso Dojo is back in business. Robbie goes to work for the LaRusso Auto Group, and Daniel is back. Gru? Your thoughts first on episode 5, Counterbalance.
Yes, this is the turning point. This is where the game, the stakes get much higher, and also from a creative standpoint, this is their first usage of. This is 5 episodes in. It's their first usage of the old Karate Kid theme music, and it's very well placed. That scene at the very end where Daniel puts the thing back on, and that's how they introduce this music coming back. It's like they've given us 5 episodes to get indoctrinated into this new universe. So now they feel comfortable without it being manipulative to use these kinds of scenes. And that, to me, I was all in before, but I remember like standing up and watching this scene like, okay, this is going to be something special. This is going to be on for a long time. And everything kind of led up to that point, and him going to the, we see now, we're sort of, now it's 50-50. Now we love Johnny and we love Daniel, but we also see their faults. Like, for example, Johnny, we don't like, at least me, I don't like that he's not doing right by his own son. Like, he has a chance, and he just says, you know what, go to school, don't go to school, I don't care. No, that's not what you say. No matter what the kid is telling you. So we see that fault in there, and we've seen Daniel's faults already, and now he's going to Miyagi again to try to find balance, and he decides, all right, the only way to do this is to step back into that gi and, do the kata and all that stuff, and now, the episode is perfectly named, Counterbalance. It's absolutely on a completely level playing field right now, and that's, to me, that's the turning point of the season, and in my opinion, the best episode yet.
Christina, your thoughts on episode 5, Counterbalance, and any of Gru's comments?
I agree. Conti's music's very powerful. His music that he's made for the Karate Kid, and even Dynasty, when you hear his music, it just stirs something up in you. So it's really cool that they actually had his music featured in this episode. And I like the way they paid tribute to Mr. Miyagi. They did it respectfully. They had flashbacks, and sometimes they'll have pictures of him. And it was really neat that they had they created a grave for him in this film, so you could see Daniel going to pay respects and talking to him. There's a lot of Daniel there's a lot of Daniel and Johnny, and a lot of Johnny and Daniel. We have Johnny over here not being the greatest father to his son. He's really out of his life, but you have even, Daniel's not the greatest father to his son. Yes, he has all these video games and everything, but he doesn't really have an interest in what he's doing, and so Daniel doesn't have that connection with his son, so now he's trying to make that connection with Johnny. They have a lot of similarities there, and so it was a great episode.
Now, Evan,
to me, guys, to me, the highlight beyond all this is I just love Aisha. I love that character. I love how she goes to Cobra-Kai and Johnny shows her no mercy. She can't fight karate style for a lick, but she pounds Miguel. Miguel kicks her hard like you would any boy, and she fights back. And I just really like the Aisha character.
Can I say this?
Yeah, go.
I was really sad to hear that she's not going to be in it, and I'm not giving any spoilers, for season 3. But the actress came out and said that she was very upset that they dismissed her character, and so I'm hoping that maybe they bring her back, because you're right, she was a great character.
Yeah.
Well, they did. They have brought people back who. No, I'm not spoiling anything. So, to continue with this episode, another one of my favorite lines ever, when they're at the country club with when he's trying to butter up the landlord, Armand. Mm-hmm. Right? And so Amanda is talking to somebody, and right in the middle of it, she screams at Anthony. She's like, so anyway, what we're doing with it, Anthony, stop drinking the butter. And he's literally drinking a carafe of lobster butter, and that's just one of my favorite lines. It makes me laugh just thinking about it, and it's just another example of how they're spreading out all of this great writing and great moments to everybody, so that there's not one wasted second of screen time here. There's no filler. Everything counts. And like Evan was saying with Aisha, we are 100% behind Aisha, and she's not. And we just met her, and yet we are already rooting for her. I almost say I've never seen it done on such a great level before. I can't think. And believe me, I've seen everything, and I can't think of anything that's been able to pull this magic trick off. And this episode is another example of that. I think Evan's point was perfect about Aisha. And
I like Aisha because she's a different character. First of all, she's not a boy. She's African American. I think she comes from a wealthy home. I think they reference her dad's a former NFL football player.
I think basketball player Isaiah Robinson. I think NBA. I think basketball player.
Okay, well, thank you.
I think. What, we want to get it right, don't we?
You please fact check me more publicly on our podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, India. Sorry. Yeah.
I like, she's, they introduce her drips and drabs. She sits at the nerd table in the cafeteria. She's a good student. She gets, there's whatever episode 3, she's at the dance, the Halloween dance, and she's eating, and they videotape her, and it goes viral throughout the school, and she's bullied. And she admits to it, but she doesn't let it. I mean, she still goes to school, holds her head up as high, as best she can, and people are making rude comments to her in the hallway. And these are things that I can relate to as an educator and as a kid who went to school and got bullied and did a little bullying himself. I mean, it's really universal themes, but I like that character.
Yeah, and what you're describing, like if you think about all the things that we've said. This has something, and it's a cliche to say it, but this show has something for everybody. It gives you parenting perspectives. It gives you educational perspectives. It gives you kids' perspectives, both bully kids and bullied kids. It gives you rich and poor. I mean, there's something for everybody to relate to. And that's
Absolutely.
And to be able to do that in 30 minutes, each time. Again, just speaks to the care that they've given the construction of these episodes, and this is a perfect example.
Andy, clearly we need to get you on late night television, those infomercials it dices, it's light, but wait, there's more. My God, he's in 30 minutes they packed it all in. This is the perfect 30-minute sitcom of all time.
It's Super Cobra-Kai Bass-O-Matic 76.
That's right. Right. Ginsu. He's gonna cut through the pan. So, I don't know if I guess we'll have to move on. Let's see your thoughts, because it's time for yet again another Nothing Worthwhile episode breakdown. It's episode 6, Quiver.
Nothing worthwhile. Episode breakdown.
Interesting enough, we get a young Johnny meeting Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai gets new students. Sam gets bullied on Facebook. Losers, nerds, and a kid with his tits popping out. Sam's not interested in karate. Johnny's not a good teacher. Dimitri's not a good student. Robbie is a good worker. Bullying at the LaRusso Auto Group. Attendance drops at Cobra Kai. The Lip quits and Miguel confronts Johnny. Robbie finally gets that shirt. Johnny reflects on his past. Robbie makes a home visit. All that matters is that you become a badass. And finally, Eli births the Hawk. Andrew Gruthius, your thoughts on episode 6, Quiver.
Hawk is here, and he's here to stay. Oh, man, that was awesome. That was incredible. Just, because everybody else walked out, and you thought he was going to, you thought they were gone, and he flips the script, as he said. And they're, just all this talk about striking first and flipping the script and all of that is just all just building and building and building and layers upon layer. And I love the backstory, Johnny's backstory, where he's looking in the window and he's seeing Cobra Kai for the first time, because you get that thing where he's sitting at the dinner table and Sid is just saying what a jerk he thinks Johnny is as a little kid, and then he takes that bike ride and you got "Don't Look Back," the music, and just everything is just I know I'm sounding repetitive, but it's tough to. It's when you've got perfection. It's kind of tough to. It's boring to criticize because there's nothing to criticize. It's
so. I think you brought up a good point. I think that beginning piece with young Johnny, going to Cobra Kai for a first time and getting a little bit of a taste of his background as a youth, really does set the stage for current Johnny. Let me throw it to Miss Christina Vee. Christina, thoughts on Gru's comments and thoughts on the episode?
I agree. It's neat to take a look into Johnny as a child and see what was going on. And again, Asner fantastic role as his stepfather. And I've mentioned it before. I really like the Hawk, and I like watching this character as he grows and evolves. And I like seeing, like, you know, his strength and you know, what Johnny was able to pull, you know, out of him. And to see him, you know, comfortable with himself, you know, as an educator, you know, you see, you know, your students grow, and when they have confidence and they're doing something that they're good at and that they like, it's neat to see that. And so the actor who plays the Hawk has done a tremendous job, you know, with bringing this character to life for us. And so, you know, I just really enjoy, you know, watching him grow and just, you know, again, seeing them flash back to Johnny when he was a young child. All these background stories, you know, enhance this show. And so, you know, again, you know, like you said, you can't critique this show. I mean, I can say nothing but good things. I haven't said anything bad yet because there's nothing bad that I see.
I mean, I think the Hawk. It was sometimes Gru and I, when we talk about a movie or a television show, we say, "Who's the winner?" Like, if you boil it down to one thing, I mean, the Hawk. That is a really that character is fascinating. I'd watch a Hawk television show. I mean, the way they've spun that character. Gru likes to overstate, but I don't know if you. I mean, the way they took that character from beginning. And it's not the end yet because we're in the middle of the season, but the way they transition that kid, it's just fascinating. It really is good television.
And it's funny, too, because he's funny about it. Like when he actually, he doesn't show off the tattoo in this episode, but, you know, further on down, when he does that, he's really funny about it when he says, like...
Does he not take off his...
I don't think... No, because I think at the end, towards the end of the episode is when he comes back, and it's the haircut. And I think either in the next episode or the one after is when he shows he's taken it even further and got that big Hawk tattoo. And the kids are like, "Oh, well, what are your parents going to say?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to wear a T-shirt at least through the end of college." You know, like, so they're still keeping it tongue in cheek and like. I don't know. It makes me so happy talking about this freaking show.
Well, speaking of tongue in cheek and Johnny's coarse nature,
oh boy.
My favorite line is when he's walking through the dojo and he says, "We got a bunch of loser nerds and a kid with his tits popping out." They have that chubby kid with the glasses, and I think he references the kid more than once in the episode with his tits popping out. And I mean, you know, again, it talks of, you know, that well, Johnny's clearly not struggling at this point, but, you know, Johnny's coarse nature with basically a good group of kids, and obviously Eli, he got ribbed and he got demeaned by Johnny and got challenged, and he comes back, at least with his hairdo, he's a badass, and now he's known as the Hawk.
Yep. Brilliant.
A way to keep up the momentum. Thanks, bro.
What?
Could hear a pin drop. All right, let's go on, guys. It's time for yet again another Nothing Worthwhile episode breakdown. It's episode 7. We're starting to heat up. All Valley.
Nothing worthwhile. Episode breakdown.
We got a room of flinchers. Miguel asked Johnny for advice on girls. Remember what we did to that bitch-ass kid from Ventura. Never accept defeat as Miguel somehow gets Sam to go out with him. Robbie's old habits die hard. Cobra-Kai's got a lifetime ban. Gru, you're right. Hawk has got a cool tat. Miyagi was a pretty special dude. Golf and stuff. We got a dating montage. Daniel versus Johnny at the athletic commission. Robbie does a reversal and gets beat down for it. Johnny has no idea who Terry Silver is. John Kreese is dead. My Cobra Kai is different. This may be the best date I have ever gone on. And congratulations, Johnny. Cobra Kai is in. We'll throw it to Miss Christina Vee. Your thoughts on episode 7. It's starting to heat up. All Valley.
Well, I love the date, you know, going to golf and stuff. I'm surprised that they still have a golf and stuff. Most of the golf and stuffs have, like, disappeared. And I like that they're playing the same music that they played for Daniel when he went on his date back in Karate Kid 1. and it's no wonder that Johnny doesn't know who Mr. Silver is, because he wasn't in Karate Kid 3. But again, I love like how they throw these like little Easter eggs in, and I just like I get pure joy out of watching these episodes. I can't tell you, I have a smile on my face the entire time. I'm like their biggest fan. I can't say anything bad about it, and I just love seeing how this plays out and how it rolls out. And I'm just curious how they're going to tie things in. And they're just brilliant geniuses when they're writing these things. And again, good balance. I'm tied into the kids, but I'm loving, seeing what's going on with Johnny and Daniel.
Let me throw it to both of you. Do you guys think that they amp up sort of the intensity of the Johnny-Daniel rivalry with the athletic commission scene?
I have a completely different take on this episode than Christina. It's all about the blue mats. No, I'm just
I took
kidding.
that line out of my breakdown.
Why? It's great. I love that whole thing. It's funny. But, no, to me, what were you going to say?
Go ahead. The floor is yours, brother. Go ahead.
Okay, so to me, this episode is all about 3 stages of Miguel. Okay? I love how he asks Sam out on this date. And I can't believe we're talking about Cobra Kai and a Karate Kid thing, and I'm talking about these new characters. I love how he asks her out. He asks her, she says, no, I don't want to go on a date, and then he just completely turns it around and say, okay, so we won't go on a date. We're just going to be 2 people going to this place and at the same time, and we're going to do these things. We don't have, and then we won't kiss. We won't do this. We won't do that. And that sets up that montage. And that tells, that's just another example that these montages with that music, it's not fan service. It works. It connects. It gives. It amplifies everything that they're trying to do. So it's not just giving us Easter eggs to feast upon. It is developing the story further. So you've got, he asks her out. They go on that terrific date. They play around with the karate a little bit. Then she kisses him, and then ultimately the end of the episode is when Miguel comes back, and you got that whole "Who's the man?" and like Johnny's like, "Wait, are you the man or am I the man? Because I just got us back into the tournament." And I just got my first kiss, and they toast champagne, and they go out like that. To me, that's this episode. It's Miguel driven, even though you get all that stuff with Daniel and Johnny at the commission, which is all great. I love it. I love everything. But to me, this episode is Miguel starts, Miguel goes, Miguel finishes, and that's what this episode's all about. And it's beautifully done.
I agree with you, but I would note that in this episode, Johnny gets a rare victory over Daniel in Daniel's realm. I mean, Johnny's forced to put on a suit and tie, and if you remember in the episode, he really bites his lip during the athletic commission meeting, because he perceives Daniel just throwing lies out there about his, Cobra Kai and now his karate studio, and it's a rare win for Johnny. And I just felt like that scene in the athletic commission amps up the rivalry. I'm not saying it needed it, but that it intensifies the Johnny-Daniel dynamic in terms of Cobra Kai.
Absolutely. And then, but I also love how Miguel is kind of prepping Johnny for the meeting, like sort of telling him what to wear. Like he's telling her how to do the date thing, and Miguel is telling him how to do the adult thing. And it's just, to me, it's that silver spoony kind of thing. And I love when Johnny asks him, it's another funny line. Johnny asks him, so what are you going to do on this date? I don't know, do this, do that, maybe then have ice cream split 3 ways. And he's like, the only thing that made sense out of any of that was 3-way. I remember that was my favorite line of that whole thing. And it's just this dynamic between these 2 guys is spreading to the rest of this ensemble, and it's, again, like we're sounding like a broken record, but this is just perfection all around. I'm trying to come up with nitpicks.
Yeah, should we just end the podcast and say
I don't know. I'm trying to come up with nitpicks, and I'm having trouble.
No need to come. I don't want anyone to nitpick if it's not something that they truly feel. All right, well, we're starting to heat up here. Let's move on, guys. It's time for a Nothing Worthwhile episode breakdown. We're going to episode 8, Molting.
Nothing worthwhile. Episode breakdown.
We're not going to take it. Mrs. LaRusso. Dad, what if Cobra Kai has changed? You're dating a LaRusso? Babes love it when you treat them like crap. The first time I saw Allie, then Daniel LaRusso came to town. Is Johnny actually making sense? You got to watch out for these LaRussos. You always take care of family. Living in a nice house doesn't always mean nice stuff is going on inside. You cannot let the mistakes of the past determine your future. Johnny's apartment gets a touch-up. Robbie meets Sam while sunbathing. Orange juice over Coors. Daniel continues to bond with Robbie. Hawk throws popcorn. Goodbye, Sid. Hi, Mr. LaRusso. I'm Miguel, Sam's boyfriend. Robbie sits at the family dinner table. Johnny's car gets a beatdown, and where does Daniel live? We'll throw it to Miss Christina Vee. Your thoughts on episode 8, Molting.
Again, seeing, you guys know I'm a big Johnny fan. It's like neat seeing him, step away from the Coors, the banquet beer, and he's softening. He's likable. But again, the Johnny from the past comes, when he's telling you, oh, girls like you to treat them like crap. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just funny, hearing him say those things, because there's still that Johnny from the 80s popping out here and there. But he's just an endearing character, and it's just wonderful seeing that. And Miss LaRusso, you said it before, she's a funny character. I love how she makes her little comments to Daniel, of how things were between him and Johnny through her eyes, kind of like poking fun of it. So I would just say, again, another great episode.
Gru, thoughts on Christina's comments in episode 8, Molting?
Well, I mean, look, that first scene when they're running from the dogs, and Dee Snider's coming on with "We're not going to take it," and I mean, you know me. I'm quivering. But yeah, this is like, I just love the speech he gives. You train hard. You've gotten tougher, stronger, faster. You've done your best. Are you nerds? Are you, like, no, Sensei, no, Sensei. Are you sure? No, Sensei. And then just all of that is just, and they're finding different ways to begin each episode. It's like these little 30-minute movies, and they're starting it in different ways to give it its tone and feel. And this is certainly no exception. And yes, everything is building to the tournament. And each of these characters is taking strides forward. I love this is where this is Johnny's he's almost at full redemption here, and when you hear his side of the story, there's nothing he said that's incorrect. It's just his point of view. And Daniel's point of view makes sense as well. But hearing Johnny, the way he tells it, and seeing the affection that he had for Allie really, really breaks your heart in this episode. And that makes you look at the first Karate Kid a little bit differently, because you see, if you examine everything that happens in that, you see Johnny he's got no interest in Daniel. He just wants to talk to Allie. And then here comes Daniel doing with the radio thing and whatever, and then Johnny lets his inner Cobra kind of take over, unfortunately in some in some way. But the tenderness that he shows in the way he tells the story, and I love how he talks about, like, my buddy Tommy, my buddy Dutch starts throwing popcorn or milk duds at the girls. Like, you can see that happening. You could see Dutch and Johnny and Bobby and Tommy sitting in the back row of a movie theater just pestering people. These little punks from these little rich punks from Southern California, and just the way he does that, and the way Miguel is looking at him like, hanging on every word. In this episode, I think Miguel represents us as the audience. Like, we are listening to Johnny. We are learning from Johnny here. And it's again, it's so beautifully done and so different in tone from every other episode, which is, again, what makes this show so special. Every episode has its own, naviance. Is that even the right word? I don't know, but you know what I mean. So yes, this is another 10 out of 10.
Well, I think the key piece, as Andrew mentioned, if you just boiled it down, I mean, clearly this episode is Johnny's narrative, and as a viewer of the original movie, yes, you look at it and you go, "Whoa, I never really thought about it that way." At least I did, and I represent the show. I'm not buying that I watched it when I was 12 and went, "Oh, Johnny's a good guy." No, when I watched it now, I went, "Whoa, maybe he's onto something." So this episode, the key piece is Johnny's narrative, and he's been holding on to it for a lot of years. And I think the theme of, I think they mention it, but holding on to your past and letting it affect your future, that's clearly a theme here, because Daniel and Johnny just can't seem to let go. Whatever went down 35 years ago.
Yeah, but it also shows, and that I keep going back to that scene where he's telling the story. It shows that Johnny's not perfect either, because he's painting Daniel as really the bad guy, and we know that Daniel's not, because Johnny leaves out one part of that story, the part where they push him down the cliff or down the hill. They see him looking in the karate studio, and then they chase him afterwards on his bike riding home, and they just literally almost kill him. Johnny leaves that part out because that's really the only offensive move that they take in that movie. Everything else is kind of a reaction to, even when they beat the crap out of him after the Halloween dance, they're reacting to Daniel putting the water on him. This was just gratuitous. This was just going after him for the sake of going after him. Johnny purposely leaves that part out of the story that he's telling Miguel, and I think that's very important. Do you know what I mean? To maintain that balance between Daniel and Johnny. Does that make sense?
Huh? I lost you from minute 14 to minute 32. Well, I agree, but the biggest piece though here is you finally get to not only hear, but you get to see Johnny's narrative. Mm-hmm. And as a viewer of the Karate Kid movies, when you're younger, if you're in our age bracket, you've been kind of sold, despite Christina's claims, you've been kind of sold that Daniel's the good guy, Johnny's the bad guy, and all of a sudden you see the bad guy's perspective and you go, whoa, I never really thought about it that way. At least I did. I know you guys want to claim that somehow you were deeper at the age of 11 and somehow liked the bad guy, but no matter, for me, when I watch this episode, I go, whoa, I've never really thought about it that way. And suddenly you get to see that shades of gray, that really creative piece.
Well, let me ask you a question. When you saw the movie, when we were kids, and you were asked, who's the bad guy in the movie, would you have said at the time, would you have said Johnny or would you have said Kreese?
What do you think I would have said?
I think you would have said Johnny, and you wouldn't have been wrong. But there is a moment even before that last part where Johnny gives him back the
wait, you just asked me a question. Now I would have, but we've talked about we had Karate Kid on our top 10 movie podcast.
Right.
We've broken down Karate Kid. I've made my position clear. I've said to you, I'm not buying at 11 years old that Johnny was a bad guy, and he had his slightly redemptive moment when he handed Daniel the trophy.
But even before that,
here, kid.
But even before that,
what are you going to say? What scene? Let me hear this.
Sweep the leg. When Kreese says sweep the leg,
that's a good point.
And Johnny's looking at him like, what are you talking about?
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
So it's and look, obviously it's much easier to Monday morning quarterback now that we've seen the continuation, and even at the beginning of Karate Kid 2, when they have that scene when Johnny and Kreese are going at it, you start to look at Johnny a little differently. But look, it's I can't remember how we of course we hated Johnny, but when you look, we've been down that road. There are so many shades of gray in this whole thing, and that's what makes it so great. It's not like that's what was wrong with the Jaden Smith version. There were no shades of gray. There was good guy and bad guy. You agree?
I don't want to get into it. Yeah, it's a tough comparison. But all right, let's move on, guys. It's time for a Nothing Worthwhile episode breakdown. We're moving on. It's episode 9, different but the same.
Nothing worthwhile. Episode breakdown.
Go ahead. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't see your finger. My screen is a little... I didn't see your finger. All you LaRussos are the same. Instead of fighting, let's eat. Johnny is getting a car, courtesy of the LaRusso Auto Group. Daniel and Johnny take a test drive. You like Speedwagon? South Seas. This guy is such a dick. Sam gets grounded. Bitches will be bitches as Hawk gets alcohol. Daniel and Johnny share a drink. Aisha runs a cool party. Did you just pull a Kaiser Soze? What's up, Facebook? Dimitri lives the moment. Yasmin gets a wedgie courtesy of Aisha. Drunk Miguel is not a good fighter. Daniel and Johnny might be friends, but Robbie drives a wedge, and Robbie gets fired. We'll go to Andrew Gruthius first. Andrew, your thoughts on episode 9, different but the same.
Well, this gives us what we've been waiting for 30-something years, but we didn't even know that we were waiting for it. We didn't even know we wanted it because we've been too busy loving this show up till this point. But the test drive and this whole thing with Johnny and Daniel sitting at the bar reminiscing about Allie, and then, like you said, I love that line, like, this guy's such a dick. Like you could see that there is a mutual respect. They just know that they're never going to see eye to eye. How Johnny stands firm. Johnny stands firm. He's not changing. It's Daniel who walks in. He's like, no, I can't drink. And then they start talking about Allie. He's like, give me a Stolian 7 there. Just like all of this and the Speedwagon part, and you're loving seeing these two guys together and just talking about these things that we talk about ourselves. We talk about these. It's like they're talking to us. They're telling us all these things that we have been curious about for all these years, and I love when they got back to LaRusso's house, and there's Amanda saying, "Okay, so you two 50-year-old guys are going to fight over what? And if you're going to do it, can you do it like in the street? Because I don't want blood on my driveway, okay? Or we could just go in and talk about this over brunch." And Johnny's like, and then Daniel's like, "You hungry?" And Johnny's like, "I could eat." And then you see him wolfing down the scrambled eggs, and Anthony's sitting there with his little hand video game. He's like, "You're a shithead." And Johnny has nothing to say. He's just like, "Screw you." He's such a it's just so it's all so great, man. I mean, this episode, so many others. Over. Yeah, please.
Let's throw it over to our partner in crime, Miss Christina Vee. Miss Christina Vee, your thoughts on episode 9, different but the same.
I gotta tell you, I love all this shit talking in these episodes. It's great. It's not like, oh, everything's perfectly fine. There's shit talking, and I love it. And it was kind of cool to see Johnny and Daniel-san sit there and talk. But there's a part of me that's like, no, Johnny, you can't like him. No, So there's all these emotions that get stirred up when I'm watching these episodes, and it's like I said, it's really cool to see them together, but there's a little part of me that's going, no, no, you can't be friends with Daniel-san. So, again, great writing, fun episode. I can't say anything bad at all. I
Zap-
just really enjoy these episodes.
Zapka's performance in this episode is incredible. Like, I love when he gives that little nod to Dutch when they're driving in the car, and Daniel's like, hey, we can't go here. We got to get back to the... He's like, relax, Danielle. I love it when he calls him Danielle. Remember, that's what Dutch did in the movie? He's like, well, it's our little friend Danielle. Hello, Danielle. I love that little moment there when they go back and they visit the old, Daniel's old apartment building, and the pool is finally filled. The pool is finally filled in. It's just all, and again, it makes sense. It's not just, oh, look at that Easter egg. It's not. Even in the previous episode when his mother shows up. That matters too. All of it matters. And that's, again, it's not fan service at all. Because, because they make everything connect. And they continue to do so in this episode.
Is there not a factual error? Because I thought South Seas was demolished.
It was sold. You mean in Karate Kid 3?
Yes.
It was sold.
I thought it was supposed to be, I thought they were supposed to... Wasn't it being demolished, and that's how they had to get out? And we said it was the most ridiculous plot point, one of the more ridiculous plot points of the movie.
You might be right. You might be right.
I might be crazy. Oh, but no, I am right. Number one, and I'm going to set both you straight. This is the best episode of the season one, to me. I always go to my experts, but to me, this is the. Peninsula, whatever. This is the best episode right here. I agree with Gru. You've want to see Johnny and Daniel in somewhat of a friendly situation. Speedwagon, the drinking, they're so close to perhaps burying the hatchet, and they see Robbie, and it all falls to shit. And to me, this is my most favorite episode in season one. Was episode 9.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you that I have a favorite episode. I don't. I can't pin it down.
Well, it's called when you do a podcast and it's talking. Take a position and stick to it. Episode 1 through 10, they're all the same. They're just all amazing.
You didn't ask me what my favorite episode was. You just told.
Andrew, what is your favorite episode?
If I have to say the best episode as far as what got me the most was probably episode 5. Was probably the counterbalance.
Okay.
That
good.
That would
there you go.
That would be my choice, but that takes 0 away from any of these other classics. Really does.
Well, then I'll throw it to Miss Christina Vee. Before we get to episode 10, Christina, did you have a favorite episode of season 1?
No, because I binge. When I watch these seasons, I sit down and I view it as one long movie.
It's a great point. That's a great point.
It's very difficult for me.
Well, hold on. I don't want to really discuss our eating disorders or whatnot on this episode, guys. But no. I'm only playing. I'm only playing. All right, so go ahead, Gru. Comment on that. She's saying I really don't have one because I watch it on one long deal.
Yeah, she has a point. There have been, I've binge watched season 1 and 2 several times since they've come out, and there have been very few, if any, times where I would go back and watch one specific episode. You can't do it. Like it's so, and a lot of the reviews that I've seen, especially about season 3, not giving anything away, but so many people have called it like the most bingeable TV show ever. Like one that you can literally sit down and you won't be able to get up until it's over. And that's probably because the episodes are short. They're like 30 to 35 minutes. They're very tight. Everything is, everything means something. There's no filler. Everything we've said. So Christina's got an excellent point that the way you view the show is like a 5.5 hour movie. But if gun to my head, had to pick an episode that really got to me personally in this season, it would be episode 5.
All right, so Gru likes episode 5. I like episode 9. We're going to wrap it up right here. It's time for the final Nothing Worthwhile episode breakdown of season 1. It's episode 10, Mercy.
Nothing worthwhile. Episode breakdown.
Welcome to the 50th anniversary of the All Valley Under 18 Karate Championship. Cobra-Kai knows how to make an entrance. Robbie unaffiliated. Miguel and Hawk advance. I don't need your sympathy as Sam and Aisha reconcile. Xander Stone is oh so woke. Miguel is headed to the finals. You got to search inside for the good stuff. Hawk goes full WWE and gets disqualified. Is there a medic? Sam and Miguel know more. Daniel LaRusso is going to coach Miyagi-Do Karate. Miguel goes full heel, and Johnny knows that his methods have corrupted. We got a winner, Miguel Diaz and the Cobra Kai Dojo. You got what you want, Johnny. Congratulations. Sam can still fight. Welcome to Miyagi-Do Karate. He's here! Kreese is here! But why? We'll go to Christina Vee first. Christina, your thoughts on the final episode of Season 1. It's Episode 10, Mercy.
Well, I got to tell you, again, Billy Zabka with his acting, incredible. You could just see how he's torn between his son and Miguel. You know, you could just see him, like, he doesn't know what to do. He loves his boy. He loves Miguel. And, you know, he has an inner struggle. And he does such a great job with it. And I got to say, I just love seeing him get the win in the end through Miguel. So it's a triumph for Johnny that I'm really happy for him. But again, you know, he's starting to see, like, you know, the things that he's teaching the Cobra Kai, which was taught to him by Kreese, is probably not so good. But I got to tell you, when they introduced John Kreese at the end, I screamed and yelled and cheered. I was so excited and couldn't wait for season 2 to begin. So that was just, I was going crazy.
Gru, episode 10, and Christina, thoughts? Any comments?
Yeah, you know, there's everything she said I agree with. This episode taught me a very important lesson about life and balance and all kinds of things, and that is never read spoilers, because I knew that Kreese was coming, and I'm pissed off that I knew, because I robbed myself of what made Christina leap for joy and horror and all of the above. I ruined it for myself. And it's just, I wish I hadn't have done that, because that was...
Are you going to go back? Are you now going to go back to your comments? What you've said on this podcast clearly many times, I don't mind reading spoilers. Are you now spoiler free, or you just regret this one for Cobra Kai?
I regret this. I regret certain kinds of spoilers. I don't regret plot spoilers. Okay? Plot spoilers are okay. I don't mind that. Okay, but these kinds of things, like this changes everything. You know, I mean, I'm gonna get sidetracked here, but I watched The Mandalorian, the Star Wars. Just give me a second, all right? Relax, take it easy. I would have been pissed off if I knew how The Mandalorian season 2 was ending before I saw it. Because it's more than a plot thing. So yeah, I'm gonna go back on my statement and say that spoilers really do just that. But getting into the rest of the episode, this episode actually contains, and I love it. I love exactly how it went down. It was perfect. The karate was terrific, and the dynamics, the Aisha and Sam sort of coming together again, and everything sort of wrapping itself up. But it does contain, and I love the take on the Miyagi healing power scene. You know, like he, you know,
is there a medic? Is there a medic?
I laughed my ass off. There's one thing that didn't work for me, and it doesn't matter that it doesn't work because it doesn't affect anything. But it's that Daniel LaRusso's going to coach thing. That made me cringe just a little bit. That was a little bit much. But who cares at this point? At this point, they could do whatever they want because they've already earned everything. But that one was like, yeah, you don't need that. It's a little silly. But the whole thing is silly, and that's what I love about it. So
okay, so I like to give 2 points to the group. Number one, I don't know if the Xander Stone character is supposed to be hilarious, if that's a dig on political correctness. I have no idea, but I laughed my ass off as they're in the middle of a karate tournament, and the young man is riffing on racism and violence in the middle of a contact sport competition. I thought that was a great thing.
Yeah.
And I do think, despite what you guys say, there is a message about political correctness in this movie.
Damn right.
You know, they reference it many times, from especially in schooling to the way Johnny teaches. I also agree with Christina's point. Johnny clearly here sees that his methods of teaching have corrupted Miguel. But to move on to the big plot twist of Kreese, I'm going to say it. Sorry. Didn't like it.
Really?
I buy into material when it's taken seriously, and that's soap opera-ish stuff. You know, Kreese comes in at the. I get it. I popped for it too, but upon reflection, I like things to work, and that's where Gru and I sometimes disagree about movies. Again, if you want to reference. Like we talked about Armageddon, it's ridiculous, but they take it seriously, so I buy into it. Whereas, we've talked about other movies that don't take it seriously. Let's say like John Carpenter, Escape from L.A., and Gru was like, well, I liked it because it was so ridiculous and so over the top, but I felt like they didn't take it seriously. So I just didn't know what, did Kreese have to die to bring him back mysteriously at the end? I don't know. I like the Kreese character. I'm glad he's in it. But I just didn't know if they had to go this soap opera-ish sort of cliffhanger-ish kind of thing. I mean, they could have cliffhanged it with him maybe in a different way. It's just, I don't know. I thought it was a little gimmicky bringing him back from the dead. This is not General Hospital.
Well, I don't think, and Christina, you tell me if you agree with me, as an audience, we know more than Johnny does. So we knew that he wasn't dead, or at least we knew as from the Karate Kid 3 when they actually said he was dead, and then came back. It was all a ploy to lure Daniel.
And I hated it. I hated it on that movie too.
Right, but what I'm saying is, for all intents and purposes, Johnny could have believed that Kreese was dead.
Right,
but I think the audience knows more than Johnny does.
Okay, but the movie is 35 years later, so I don't think they're referencing Kid 3. They're referencing that Kreese is dead. I don't think it's All
right. It's interesting you say that, because when that statement is made, they actually are referencing Karate Kid 3, because they're talking about the reason that Cobra Kai got banned from the tournament.
Understood. Right.
With Terry, and they mentioned Terry Silver.
Yes,
right.
They do. They mention Silver and they mention Kreese, and Johnny says Kreese is dead, but we don't know if that's a direct reference from Karate Kid 3. I mean, 35 years have passed. Don't you think that it could be a fair explanation that Kreese has died? Maybe he's died to old age. Maybe
absolutely.
Okay.
Well, he could think that like Mr. Miyagi's dead. John Kreese was old, so he could think, I heard he was dead. Yeah, he's probably dead. Kids think. Well, Johnny's not really a kid, but to him, John Kreese was old, so he's probably thinking, I heard he's dead. Yeah, he's dead. He doesn't know that what happened in Karate Kid 3.
Yeah, I don't want to give away a deleted scene in season 2, but Daniel could hear Mr. Miyagi through his AM radio. Back from the dead.
Is that frequency?
Yeah, it's one of the
his ham radio. He's talking to him through the sunspots and.
Well, guys, we've been hammering it out for almost 3 hours. Season 1, I'll throw it to the group. We'll go to Gru first. Gru, you want to wrap up season 1? Just any final thoughts? And obviously, I'm assuming it made you really look forward to season 2.
Well, without even going into season 2, this show really kind of, I was getting sort of jaded with the kind of television that was coming down the pike. It was like everything was sort of in the Breaking Bad kind of, super complicated and gritty and angry and anti-heroes and all this. There was nothing that really made me feel like a kid again. What? Why are you shaking your head?
Any chance to knock Breaking Bad? I mean, it's the
No. I know. Believe me. I know that Breaking Bad is a great show. I've just never seen it. I know
exactly.
that. No, I've never seen it. So, but those kind of shows, Breaking Bad, Mad Men, all those Game of Thrones, all these craziness.
You're like Kay Gardella when we grew up, the Daily News television critic who criticized Howard Stern and didn't even watch. Didn't watch the show.
I'm not criticizing. I'm not criticizing the show in and of itself. I'm not even criticizing. I'm just saying those kinds of things. I was getting burnt out on them, and this came along to me at the perfect time to see such affection in writing and affection for source material and treating it with such great care and take it because we've been burned so many times. We've been burned by. Even though we do have a certain soft spot, you and I, for the Terminator franchise, we try to find the good in each of those. We know that they've kind of let us down with those. Star Wars has been a dumpster fire, and all these things that they've tried to reboot and retool and all these things, just nothing clicked. And we'd always look forward to these things. We'd be excited about them, and then we would walk out of there like, nah. This was finally something for us that we, with the exception of Creed. And Creed does the same exact thing that Karate Kid does. It knows that it knows that this story is just as much about Rocky as it is about Little Creed. Okay? And that's what Cobra Kai does. It's just as important, it's just as much about Johnny and Daniel as it is about all these people. And to me, it was so refreshing to have a show like this come out and really just give me a sense of like joy that I hadn't gotten from movies and TV in a long time. So
let me throw this to Christina first.
And then.
Oh, the wait! We got 3 hours. We're almost time. Let's go.
And then
I got a life already.
And then there's the cliffhanger to go to season 2. So
can't wait for next episode.
But my point is,
I can't wait for next episode with Moody and Christina Vee just break down.
My point is,
we'll be having it in 50 minutes.
My point is that you mentioned like with the cliffhanger, and I'm saying that it was without the cliffhanger, it would have been just as brilliant. That's my point.
I get it, but for me, that's soap opera stuff, and this is not a soap opera. If you're talking about Dallas, Dynasty, General Hospital, I get it. And I'm fine. Look, I mean, I love the Kreese character, and I'm glad they brought him back. But I just would have liked it a little bit. I mean, we're talking about sort of a reality. We're trying to. As a viewer, I like realism or at least seriousness, and I can buy into it a little bit. With that being said, look, he's back. I'm gonna, I still love it, but I thought bringing him back like that was a little bit gimmicky. But I do want to ask. I'll ask to Christina first. Did Cobra Kai, did they hit on an element, the television show? I mean, right now we're reading that they're going to bring back the Alien series on TV for Hulu. I mean, does this give us hope? Did they hit on elements where perhaps older movies with beloved characters or could be brought back in novelization on television?
Well, I think they set the standard. It's been very difficult to get that same magic with the television shows they brought back. I was really excited about Saved by the Bell because I love Zach Morris. But they've done an okay job with it. It was okay. But this Cobra Kai series, seriously, when I saw it, I was like a kid on Christmas Day. My heart was excited. It woke me up. I was really excited about it. But, with these other movies that they're going to do this with, I'm just hoping that the writers respect the audience and those fans. And they handle it with care, the same care that they did with Cobra Kai. And I love the fact that Cobra Kai has brought back the original people, that they're not using some other actors saying, oh, that's so-and-so. I like the fact that they have the original people, And so I just think these guys have done a tremendous job with Cobra Kai. And if anybody wants to have the same success, they need to follow. Are you guys there?
Yes.
They need to follow. They need to follow their recipe.
So I think that's a good point that she makes, Gru, because we've had this before, and I don't want to get into that, but like, we had the Sarah Connor Chronicles on Fox. We had the Marvel Shield, and a lot of these times, this television stuff from movie universes, it looks cheap. They don't put as much money into it. It doesn't have the original stars, so it just never seems to garner quite the same interest.
Well, yeah, and I agree with everything you both just said, and I think that a prime example and a Netflix example, they were hoping that Fuller House would hit the same way Cobra Kai has, even though Fuller House came out way before. And Fuller House was great for the first episode. Why? Because you got to see all the old people, but then by episode 2 they were gone, and they would come back intermittently, and no, that's not what people want to see. That's gimmicky. Mm-hmm. Here's the gimmick for this episode. We're going to have Bob Saget back. So, and that is supposed to sell us on the young people. No. And Disney also did the same thing with Boy Meets World. I was a big fan of Boy Meets World when I was younger. And they had their sequel series where the older popular characters would pop in from time to time, but it was really just about these younger kids. And I haven't seen all those episodes. The only episodes that I've seen of that show are the ones where the old guard comes back, because they failed to sell me on the new kids. By making it about the original source material, that's how it's done. And that's how you bring, like I've said that before. And so Cobra Kai has now set the bar very, very high. And for an alien, like, honestly, Evan, if Sigourney Weaver is not a part of an alien TV show, I'm kind of not interested. Okay. I mean, does that make sense? Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, Ripley is that franchise to me.
I don't think she's going to be part of it. I know it's supposed to take place on the planet Earth, where that could be the plot point to introduce new and different characters. But look, I don't want to get into it. My whole point was not about television, which was about movie novelization on television. I know Fuller House, but I think Cobra Kai, how they did it, would be a way that you could bring back older franchises, perhaps. I know they did like the Terminator, with the Sarah, but they've done it before, and the look and feel is shoddy and TV-ish and third rate. Where I think the biggest thing that they brought back all the original players. That's huge.
Yeah,
you could bring back all the players, and then they're able to effectively introduce the new younger characters. And now, after season 1, I'm just as interested to find out what happens to Hawk, what happens to Dimitri, Aisha, Sam. Those I don't lose interest. It's not going to the bathroom time, when they put Robbie on the screen. I want to see what happens.
Right, and that's the great part about it, is that they cover everything. There is no character left behind in this TV show. 0. Everybody is accounted for, except maybe Anthony for some reason. I don't know why. He's hilarious, and for some reason they've kind of dropped him. He shows up from time to time. I think in season 2 he's at summer camp the entire show. Poor kid.
Yeah,
but
very Louis Anderson.
All
right. Anyway,
but other than that, everybody matters, and like you just said, you can't just bring in these characters for window dressing. And Cobra Kai makes them all connect, every single one, and we will see that as we talk about the further seasons.
Well, we're going to end on that note, and I just want to first of all thank Miss Christina Vee. Christina, did you have a good time this morning?
I had a blast. Thank you so much. Again, I feel so honored. This was a lot of fun. I've never done anything like this before, and it was great talking about one of my favorite shows of all time.
All right, well, you want to join us for our season 2 breakdown?
I would be honored.
She's in. She's in.
She's in. The mega powers
right.
of Cobra Kai.
Well, as tradition, we want to thank Christina again. Gru, you want to wrap us up and take us out of here?
I'd be happy to. This was an absolute pleasure. I love talking about this show. I love talking about the franchise. I love talking about it with you, both of you. This was great, and it's just like the show, it's only going to keep getting better from here. So next week, we've got Season 2 of Cobra Kai. Where are they going? What are they doing? And will we be here to see it? Because COVID is still out there, so mask up, everybody. The vaccine is coming, and we're going to be all right. It's going to be okay. In the meantime, on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Whack, whack.
Cobra Kai never dies. Escuelo.